In this masterclass, you're going to learn more about email deliverability than your agency knows. I'm serious, you're going to learn how to check if inbox providers are blocking you, how to remove that restriction, how to check your sending domain, and how to warm up your domain on autopilot without having to make endless segments and send endless warm-up campaigns like other agencies are telling you. Plus, I'll show you the bot detection system that saved one of our clients 20,000 fake signups, which would have plummeted their deliverability, and the engagement segments you need to make and exclude from your campaigns and your flows so that your reputation is safe forever. This is the stuff agencies charge $10,000 to maybe do, but you're getting it for free. Hello, so this is the masterclass. So first, let's check your current deliverability status, okay? There's a few ways you can do this, and I'm going to show you the most effective ones. So first off, you can go to your Klaviyo account. Okay, so go to your Klaviyo account and click on dashboards and select overview dashboard. And down here, there should be a card called email deliverability by email domain. But most of the time, you're not going to have that card. You have to add it in manually. So just go back on top, click on add card, and basically down here, look for the card that's called email deliverability by domain. And you're basically going to have a look at the open rate and the click rate by email domain. So gmail.com open rate is 35%. Actually, before you do that, just make sure that your time period is long enough. So let's do last 90 days. So gmail.com 45%, yahoo.com 61%, hotmail.com 26%, iCloud 82%. So when you see huge differences in open rates like this, it shows that your domain has been restricted, your sending domain has been restricted by some inbox providers, okay? So as you can see on the second page as well, owl.com is 59, Outlook 21, hotmail.co.uk 18, right? So this domain, this sending domain has got an issue with deliverability. Okay, so that's the first way to check. The second way, actually that's how to check your deliverability. And so if you see an issue like this, there's a few reasons this can happen, and I'm going to walk you through each one of them right now. So the first reason is having a shared sending domain. So this is by default. When you start sending from your Klaviyo account, by default you are on a shared sending domain, and that's not good because you're going to be sharing your sending reputation with all of the newbies that are also using Klaviyo and that probably don't know how to do email marketing properly. So that's why it's called a shared sending domain, and you can check that from inside Klaviyo. So if you go to your Klaviyo, under settings, click on domains, and if you see this emails.corel.com, okay, and this is active, so basically just a sending domain and the status is active, that means okay, your sending domain is set up, but you still want to go to your inbox like I'm going to show you and check. You just have to send a preview to yourself or open an existing email on your laptop, and first you want to check if it says via shared klaviyomail.com, because sometimes even though on your Klaviyo dashboard it says okay, you've got your dedicated sending domain set up, but sometimes if you've set it up incorrectly, you still want to check, right? And you also want to check by clicking here. So just click on the three dots, click on show original, and then you should see this. SPF, DKIM and DMARC, all three of them should be pass. Alright, when these three are passed, that just means that the issue with your low open rates and you being restricted by inbox providers is not because of any DNS settings or something, but if you've checked inside of Klaviyo and this is not set up, or you've checked your records this way and not all three of them are passed, I'm gonna attach a clip right now and watch it again and set up your branded, by the way, branded, dedicated and custom sending domain. They all mean the same thing. I'm gonna attach a clip, watch that clip again and set it up again properly, and then you can keep watching the rest of the video. Today I'm going to show you how to set up your custom sending domain. You can call it custom, dedicated, branded, they mean the same thing, and also how to set up DMARC, even if you're not tech savvy. As long as you know how to use a mouse and a keyboard, you can do this. So you might be curious to know, what's a custom sending domain? Why do I need one? And all of these questions. The short answer is, you don't need to know. You're a busy store owner, you don't need to know this type of stuff because you only have to do it once and you will never have to deal with it ever again. But if you're curious, let me tell you anyways. A custom sending domain is basically having your own history with an inbox provider. So to begin with, when you start your Klaviyo account or when you start sending on Klaviyo, if you don't have a dedicated sending domain, by the way, a dedicated sending domain, custom sending domain, branded sending domain, all of these are the same thing, okay? So when you start sending on Klaviyo and you haven't set this up, you're basically sharing your reputation, your inbox placement and stuff with other Klaviyo users, because by default you're on a Klaviyo shared sending domain. But when you set up your own custom sending domain, it basically gives you like a clean start and you have full control over your reputation. If there's a bad Klaviyo user that's spamming every day, that's not going to affect you. What's going to affect you is what you do. Okay, so first let's check what type of sending domain you're on. Simply go to Klaviyo settings, account, domains. If it looks something like this, it means you're sending from the shared sending domain. But if it looks something like this, right, this means your dedicated sending domain is good, but you still want to do a double check by going to Gmail inbox. Just go to here and select show original and just make sure both of them, so just make sure SPF, DKIM, DMARC are all pass. And another way to check if you're using a shared sending domain or the dedicated sending domain is by simply looking over here. If it says via shared Klaviyo mail, that means you're using a shared Klaviyo sending domain and you need to switch as soon as possible. But if it's something like this, and when you drop down, it just says mailed by K1, etc., that's fine. That means you're using the dedicated or branded sending domain. But let's say you don't have a dedicated sending domain yet. Let me show you how to set it up step by step. So simply go to settings, account, domains, connect a domain, okay, and then you're just simply going to write your domain name, do next, and over here just write send. You don't need to worry about what this is, just simply write send. Routing that type is going to be dynamic, next, and then you'll have to select your domain provider. It can be Squarespace, GoDaddy, Cloudflare, Shopify, there's a ton. So if you don't see over here, don't panic, the process is pretty much the same. Like, even though they have shortcuts over here, let's say if you've bought your domain from Shopify, you can simply do next and log into Shopify. But let's just assume you've got another type of domain. So let's enter it manually, and this will work even if you've got Shopify or GoDaddy. So just do other, and let's set it up manually. It's super easy. I'm going to show you. So select other, do next, and you have these records. You don't need to know what DNS is, you don't need to know what records is. Just simply copy and paste these into your domain provider. The settings, the layout might be a little bit different, but it's basically the same. You just want to log into your domain provider, just look for your domain. There's going to be some sort of option that says edit DNS settings or configure DNS settings. Just look for that, and then look for an option to add custom record, okay? And then you're just simply going to add these. So let's add the first one. So the type is NS, add custom record. you might not see NS. NS is basically CNAME. So if you see NS, select NS. If you don't see NS, just simply select CNAME. And over here, you're just going to copy this, add it in, points to value, add it in, confirm, and you just want to do that for all of these records. So do the same for the second one, the third one, the fourth one, and the last one is a TXT record. You're just simply going to add custom record, add TXT, name, just leave it empty, or just add this, TXT value, just copy and paste this here, and then you confirm. Super easy. And after you added all of the settings, we still need to add one record which Klaviyo doesn't add automatically, and that's the DMark record. So you don't need to know what DMark means or what it does. Just simply copy and paste these exactly as they are. Okay, it's going to be the same for every brand. It doesn't matter what country you're in, it doesn't matter what continent you're in. Even if you're on Mars or something, it's going to be the same type, host and value. Okay, I'm going to add these into the description so that you can simply copy and paste them. But if you're watching somewhere else or something, you can type it in, but just make sure you type them in character by character exactly as they are. So type is going to be TXT, select TXT, host is going to be DMark, like that, value is going to be this, like this, and just press confirm. If you've made it this far in the video, I've got a little something for you. Just click the first link in the description and we'll triple check if you've set it up correctly, and we'll make sure that everything is correct. After about 24 hours, it usually only takes about 1 hour. If you go back to your dashboard, you're just going to have to, there's going to be like a button that says apply domain or something. Just click on it and then you're going to see this. Okay, very easy. And you can also check it yourself by sending a campaign to yourself and then just do show original. All three of them should be pass. Okay, SPF pass, DKIM pass, DMark pass. Once you see this, all good. You don't need to ever worry about sending domain and DNS records ever again. And after you've set up your custom sending domain, it's gonna basically look something like this. When you send an email to yourself, it's no longer gonna say shared klaviyomail.com. It's just gonna say mailed by send or whatever prefix you used .yourdomain.com. All right. So once you've got this done, that's it in terms of the DNS settings. All right, DNS. But another reason why you're restricted by inbox providers, apart from the technical issue, is that your domain has a bad sending reputation. This can happen if you've been sending for a long time and you haven't been segmenting your list, or you've been sending irrelevant content. These are basically the main reasons why your sender reputation can go down, and it's not irreversible. There is a way to fix it. So I'm going to show you how to fix it using a flow that's going to run on autopilot. You're going to see a few YouTube videos that show you how to fix it, but that's the long way, where you have to make segments, keep sending campaigns. It's a lot of manual work, ongoing manual work for a few weeks. But I'm going to show you a method where you only have to set up a flow, and then the flow is going to warm up your domain for you. And then after this, I'm going to walk you through a few mistakes you need to avoid, because as you know, prevention is better than cure. So let's do this. Let's build the DBF warm-up system. So this is what it looks like. Okay, if I just zoom out, it looks complex. Don't get intimidated. All right, it looks complex, I know, but it's gonna make sense. Basically, everything you see at the top here, these are just conditional logic splits that are going to automatically segment the people that enter this flow, instead of having to manually make the segments in the ongoingly, like in the future. So I'm going to show you how to build this step by step in a second, but first let me tell you the reason why we're even doing this. So this flow basically has 2 emails. The first email is going to get them to reply to our email, and I'm going to show you the email template in a second. So we're basically going to ask them for a reply, because a reply is a sign of engagement and it's a sign of relevant content to inbox providers. And the second email, I know you can see 3 emails here, but that's just segmentation based on purchase history. But the second email is going to get them to click a link, and we're basically going to be hitting 2 birds with 1 stone here. And the link we will ask them to click on is going to be a survey, right? So that's why we've got a different survey for active customers, different survey for lost customers, and different survey for non-buyers. But if you're only worried about deliverability and you don't really care about getting zero-party data from your audience, don't worry about this. You can just have 1 email here. So yeah, and like I mentioned, these conditional logic splits, they are basically going to segment your list automatically, and the most engaged profiles will receive the email first, which is going to give the email like a 80% open rate, 10% reply rate, etc. And that's the reason why we're starting with the most engaged ones, and then every 4 days it's going to ramp up recipients. And what this is going to do is it's going to tell inbox providers that, hey, they've sent an email and it's got an 80% open rate, a bunch of replies, so this sending domain is sending some relevant content. So we should also maybe update our records, update our history about the sending domain, so that it reaches more people because they're sending relevant content, right? So yeah, that's basically in a nutshell how this works. You don't really need to know everything about this, because as a store owner, you only have to do this once and never again. So step by step, I'm going to show you how to build this. But the easiest thing would be, actually, we could clone this over to your account, but then you'll have to give us access. If you're okay with that, you can just email me and I can clone this over to your account. If not, I'm going to show you how to build this in a few minutes. Okay, so you're going to click on the flows page. You're going to go to create flow. Actually, this flow is going to be triggered by a segment. So first we have to create a segment. So go to the lists and segments page, click on create new, create segment. For now, just call this placeholder segment and just select any condition. Actually, just select, for now, just select if someone can or cannot receive marketing. We're going to adjust this later on before launching the flow. So whilst this is building, you can now go to the flows page, click on create flow, build your own, just name this DBF Warmup Infrastructure. Okay, create, and here just select all triggers, click on added to segments. For some reason Klaviyo doesn't have a search bar here, so what you're going to do is click on Control F and just look for placeholder. You can see it here. Click on placeholder, click on save, and then the first thing you want to do is add a conditional logic split. Okay, and straight away link the no path to the yes path. Okay, and then add more conditional logic splits on the no path. Okay, and add 6 conditional logic splits. So we've got 2 already, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oops, that's a time delay. Add a conditional logic split. Alright, and then on top of each split, you want to add a time delay of 4 days. 4 days, and also select delay until a specific time of day. And just do 10 a.m. 10 a.m. is a good time. Save. And just clone this and add it on top of each conditional split. And for the last one over here, okay, the one that doesn't have a conditional logic split underneath, you're going to change this to basically unlimited days, okay? Because I'm going to explain in a second. So now we can start configuring the splits. Okay, so the first split, you just want to do this. So if someone can or cannot receive marketing. Actually, I'm just going to show you because it's very straightforward. I'm not going to keep saying it every time. I'm just going to say it for the first time. So if someone can or cannot receive marketing, person can receive email marketing, and make sure you select and not or, and what someone has done or not done, open the email, okay, at least once in the last 30 days. And here you want to select or, okay, or if they've clicked an email at least once in the last 30 days. Okay, after this, make sure you select and placed order at least once over all time, and then press save. So just to give you some explanation about what this is, the first conditional split is only going to be pushing people that have recently engaged and are a customer, because these people are the most engaged people. They're the most likely to engage with the email, so we want to send the email to them first. So that's the first split. The second split, very similar. It's again, if they can receive marketing, they've opened an email in the last 30 days or clicked an email in the last 30 days, but there's no condition for them to be a customer, so these can also be non-buyers. And then the third split, if they can receive email marketing, opened email in the last 90 days or clicked email in the last 90 days, placed order at least once, so these are 90-day engaged and a customer. Then the next split is going to be 90-day engaged and not a customer. So the condition that says they're a customer doesn't exist. The fifth split is again this condition, then opened email in the last 180 days, clicked email in the last 180 days, or clicked email. Make sure you select or and not and, otherwise it's going to mess up everything. And placed order at least once in the last, so placed order at least once over all time. And the next split, again similar, opened email at least once in the last 180 days, clicked email at least once in the last 180 days, okay? So these are the 6 splits. You don't need another one. Let me just get rid of this. That's a flow that I've already built beforehand. Okay, all good. So once you've set up these conditional splits, we can now start making the email. But before that, I actually forgot to tell you to add another time delay. So right before the first conditional logic split, add a time delay of 1 day, and the time of day should be 10 a.m. recipient's local time zone. And once you've done that, we can now make the emails. So the first email, all right, you're just simply going to drag an email block, add it here. We can just call it warm up email number 1, and this is going to be the email. Now the email copy for this, it's extremely optimized. Like, we've tried different ones, but this one is the one that works the best. So the first warm-up email, again, very short. You don't want to take too much of their time. Very short. You're simply going to ask them to reply with anything, even just an OK. Okay, so let's build this. Select template. Actually, sorry, that's going to be a plain text email. So create text only email, and here I'm just going to copy that. So you just get a body text and paste it here. For some reason, the Klaviyo editor is just so annoying. Whenever you paste, like, you have to manually re-add the lines again. Okay, just have a look at why the lines happen. Okay, and you just want to sign off with your name, your role, and the company name, and you want to link this to your homepage. Okay, and after you've linked it to your homepage, just select save. Okay, the subject line, use this. This one is very good. Subject line, sender name, use your name. Don't add your brand name here. Use your name, because when people receive emails, sometimes they don't even look at the subject line. They don't look at the preview text. They simply have a look at the sender name and determine if they should even have a look at the email. If it's a brand, there's something that happens in the head where they think, okay, it's a promotional email, I'm not going to check. But when you use a personal name, they're just more likely to check. Okay, so that's that. You're done. And after the first email, you've got a time delay of 3 days. So so add a time delay, choose 3 days, and do 2 p.m. And then you have a split. And this split is only if you want to send different surveys, different links to different profiles, depending on their purchase history. But if not, you can just simply add an email on top. You can just add an email straight after the second time delay. But if you want to just do a quick survey of your customers and find out what they want, what your active customers want, what your lost customers want, and what your non-buyers want, here's how to do it. So just do a conditional split, placed order at least once in the last 180 days. That depends on your product type, of course. So this is the criteria for an active customer. And then here, that's the criteria for a lost customer. Okay, just copy that. And then you've got the non-buyers. So this email is basically going to be the same copy for all three. Okay, of course it's different copy than the first email that we did, because in this one we asked them, hey, we're working on something for the brand, it'll just take you 30 seconds, I made a quick survey, could you click here and answer please, right? Very short, very sweet. So you're just gonna select that. You're just going to copy that. If for some reason you don't have access to the link, it should be in the description of the video. But if it's not, or maybe you're watching somewhere else, you can just simply take a screenshot of this, ask ChatGPT to scrape the text and give it to you in a code block, so that you can just simply click, copy, and paste it inside of Klaviyo. So just copy that and paste it inside of a text only email. Okay, this time it has okay, for some reason this time the line breaks remained. Okay, so all good, I can delete that. And here you just want to link that to a Google Form survey or whatever platform you want to use to do the survey. We'll just use Google Forms, super easy to build, and you can ask anything you want. Okay, just link that here, and then same as the last email, you're gonna link your company name to the home page, and then just press save. Okay, do that for all 3 emails. Okay, once you've done that for all 3 emails, now we can start launching the flow. So just a quick recap. the flow is triggered by a segment. Okay, and if you remember, I told you, hey, create a placeholder segment so that you can edit it later. So this is what you're going to do inside of the placeholder segment. So this is going to say placeholder. If I just do that with you, inside of the placeholder segment that's connected to the flow, that's being used as a trigger to the flow, you're going to edit the condition to say this. So this is going to change the properties about someone. So you're just going to, this can literally be anything, but just to remain professional, okay, let's just use the same one. Okay, so just type this in word for word. So just write DBF Warmup, okay, word for word, character for character, infrastructure. Okay, you're not going to have this inside of your account. You're going to have to create it first. And the way you're going to create it is by simply going to profiles page, click on profile, any profile, and then add custom property. And then here you're going to write this in, and then here you can just write enter. Okay, so you have to do this first. Actually, you have to go to profiles page, select a profile, add a custom profile property. So this one in this case, write this in word for word, character for character, and the value we just like to use enter or an exclamation mark. And the reason it's so like intricate is because we don't want like future profiles to go inside of that flow. We really want it to be like a manual trigger, or we press a button intentionally knowing who's going to go inside of that flow. So that's why we're doing this, because we don't want it to trigger on everyone. It's only if a specific it's only profiles that meet a specific criteria. Okay, so once you've written this, create add profile property, and then this will appear when you're editing the placeholder segment, and when you select properties about someone, this custom property will appear. Okay, DBF Warmup Infrastructure equals, and then here you're going to select this value, enter with the exclamation mark. Now that you've done that, click on update segment, and now this is going to be the warm-up flow, but now we need a tag flow that's going to trigger everyone into the flow. It sounds complicated, but don't worry, just turn on your autopilot mode inside of your brain and just follow me. So you're simply gonna create another segment and just call it all profiles to enter DBF flow or DBF Warmup structure. This name doesn't really matter, that's just an internal name, and you want to build this segment exactly how I've done it here. So if someone can or cannot receive marketing, can receive even marketing because person subscribed. Now this is a bit confusing because some Klaviyo accounts, when they import lists, they don't update this status. But basically to summarize it for you, if you have ever imported a list, make sure this is on. Okay, make sure this is on, and then click just do and what someone has done or not done, bounced email 0 times in the last 30 days, and bounced email is less than 4 times over all time, and marked as spam 0 times over all time, and clicked email to unsubscribe 0 times over all time. And then you're simply going to press on update segment or create segment in your case. And now we're going to create the tag flow, which is going to be triggered by this segment. I know it sounds complicated. You don't need to know everything about you don't need to know the intricate details, but just follow what I'm doing. So flow, click on create flow, build your own. Name is simply going to be DBF tag flow. Okay, and then just click on create flow, click on all triggers, select added to a segment, and here you're gonna look up the segment you previously made, which is this one, all profiles to enter DBF warmup. Click save, confirm and save. Okay, so here this is simply going to be a flow that tags. There are no emails in this flow, so you're simply going to select profile property update, and here you're going to add step, do update existing property. Actually select create new property, because in your account it's going to be new. Create new property, and if you remember the first flow that we made, like the chunky flow that we made, it was triggered by a segment with this custom property, right? You want to make sure you type this profile property in word for word, character for character in this new segment that we are creating, sorry, in this new flow that we are creating. All right, for the profile property update, make sure the property label is word for word, character for character, the same as this as the placeholder segment that we made, right? Okay, again, just copy this word for word, character for character. So that's going to be DBF Warmup Infrastructure, and then just make sure you've got text selected, and here the property value is going to be enter. Okay, enter with an exclamation mark at the end. We'll just do that because we want to make sure it's an intentional trigger. So once you've done that, just click on save. Okay, and just make sure before we back populate this flow, before we add past profiles to this flow and launch everything, just make sure that both flows, okay, this flow, the tag flow, is live. So just select live and press save. It's gonna make it live. And same for the chunky flow that we just made, the DBF Warmup Infrastructure. Okay, this flow, make sure this is also live. Okay, you're not gonna have this because you're gonna fill in all of the emails, right? So flow status, live, and then press save. Once both flows are live, then you just have to, this is gonna basically trigger thousands of people inside of the warm-up flow, and the flow will then the flow will automatically segment profiles. It's gonna send to the most engaged in a day, it's going to send to the least engaged after a few weeks. Okay, so now this is the last step when it comes to this warming up process. Just click on add past profiles. Okay, you're not going to have this warning because your flow is going to be live. Select add at the beginning, and then click on add profiles, and then you just wait. That's it. You don't have to make segments every week, schedule warm-up campaigns every week like everyone else is teaching you. And after you've done that, these are the results you can expect. For example, we did it for this brand. They went from 14% open rate to 46% open rate. Okay, across the entire account. So now that this warming up process is done, we need to have a talk about the mistakes you need to avoid. And also another thing, bots are a real thing when it comes to email marketing. Like, we've got some clients, they had thousands of bots joining their email list and just lowering their open rates, damaging their sender reputation, even though they were sending relevant content, even though they were segmenting their list. They were doing everything they could to keep a good sending reputation, but bots just came and ruined it. So we developed a strategy where we can set up an automation to also exclude bots, and I'm going to show you how to do that right now. Did you know that bots could secretly be ruining your email deliverability? Well, here's a way to stop them before it's too late. I'll show you the easiest way to automatically exclude bots from campaigns and flows so your emails stay out of spam, they're not being affected by low engagement caused by the bots, and your campaigns and flows make it to your real leads, to your real visitors and subscribers and customers. And after this video, you'll never have to worry about setting up segments and suppressing. Okay, so first we're going to identify bots using their email address. We're going to make 2 segments. This might take you about 10 to 15 minutes. Okay, I'm going to show you how to do it step by step. But if you want, we can simply clone these segments over to your account. Just click the first link in the description and we'll do it for you for completely free. If you want to do it yourself, just follow these steps. So on your Klaviyo, just go to lists and segments, click on create segment. Just call it bot segment 1, and then for the definitions, you're simply going to copy our definition. This segment is quite big, and there's going to be a lot of domains, like 30-40 different domains. That's because I've gathered the most common fake domains that I've come across. I'm just going to scroll through the definitions, and you can pause the screen and build a segment in your account. And that's it. Make the second segment, which is a lot simpler, very simple. So what someone has done or not done, received email is at least 10 times, but they've opened 0 emails of all time, and yeah, they've basically received 10 emails but haven't engaged with any of them. So you're going to create that segment, and then we are going to exclude these 2 segments from both campaigns and flows. So for campaigns, it's very easy. So in the don't send to section, make sure these 2 segments that you just made are always excluded. Now when it comes to your flows, it's a bit more complex, but again, it's very easy when you do it step by step. We want to create 2 tag flows. These are not email flows, these are tag flows, to tag anyone that enters these bot segments. So the first flow, so you know what, let me just do it step by step. Do create flow, build your own, just name it bot tag flow 1, you create flow, and then go to all triggers, select the segment, and for some reason there's no search bar, so if you have a lot of segments and lists, it's going to take a lot of time. Instead, just use the shortcut, use Control F or Option F on your keyboard, and just type bot, and just go to the next section. Yeah, so this is the first bot segment, select. You don't need any profile filters, just select the trigger, and that's it. Confirm and save, and we are simply going to add a profile property and add step, create new property, and the property label is going to be exclude flows, make sure it's text, and the property value is going to be yes. Save, and do the same for the second segment. So let's do it again. Create flow, build your own, bot tag flow 2, create flow, all triggers, add it to segment, Control F on the keyboard, write bot, and then look for the second segment, which is this one. Save, confirm save, add profile property update, add step, create new property, and you need to make sure it's the same property label as the previous flow, like character for character, word for word, even the capitalization needs to be the same. So exclude from flows. You should go back and check to make sure it's the same exact one. Okay, exclude from flows. Let me repeat it again. It has to be the same label as the first flow we just created. Character for character, word for word. Text, property value, yes, simply. And this also has to be the same. Now we just need to add a flow filter to every single email flow that is live and any future flow that you set up. So you're just going to go to your flow, okay? Just select any email flow that's live and just click on the trigger, and down here, profile filters, click on edit, add a profile filter that says properties about someone. The dimension is going to be exclude from flows. You can't add it because nobody in your system, like if you try and add this flow filter, as soon as you've created those 2 tag flows, it's not going to let you do that because the property doesn't exist in your system because Klaviyo has that property yet. So first we have to manually add that profile property, and it's very easy. You're just simply going to go to profiles, just look for any profile. I'm just going to use mine for now. This is one of my emails, and you're just going to go down to custom properties, add custom property. This is going to be the same property as the label that I was talking about inside of the tag flows. So exclude from flows. Okay, make sure it's the same character for character, word for word, and value. It doesn't really matter. You can just do yes. Okay. Now, if we try and add the flow filter, we are going to see it as a property. So again, go to your flow, click on trigger, click on edit, and you don't need to touch anything, any other filter before it. Just add a new filter by clicking on and, select condition, which is going to be properties about someone, dimension. Now here look for exclude from flows, which is the custom property we created, equals, so it doesn't equal, make sure it says doesn't equal. So properties about someone, exclude from flows, doesn't equal, yes, and now just save. And just make sure you have this filter, this profile filter, in every single existing flow and future flow. Okay, now that you've watched the clip about bot detection and removal, and you've gone step by step of that video and made the flows to exclude from your campaigns and flows, we also need to make segments based on engagement and exclude unengaged profiles from your campaign sends. So if you just follow along, so go to your lists and segments page. We're going to create the segment for the 120-day unengaged. If you're a brand that's sending 1 to 2 times a week, or maybe even 1 time every 2 weeks, having that segment excluded is a good idea. But if you're a brand that only sends during Black Friday or like major sales, in your case you might want to do the 360-day unengaged. Okay, so just call this 120-day unengaged, but the safest bet is 120-day unengaged when it comes to deliverability. So 120-day unengaged, you're gonna select what someone has done or not done. Oops. Opened email 0 times in the last 120 days, or clicked email 0 times in the last 120 days. Okay, and that's it. Very easy. You're going to make this segment, so you click on create segment, and then you're going to exclude this segment from your campaigns. Okay, so let's say here 120 day, and then you just want to select the segment that we just made. Another engagement based segment that we need to make is the bounced segment. So again, go to your lists and segments page, click on create segment, just name this bounced segment. Here we're going to select everyone that has bounced email 0 times, bounced email at least once in the last 30 days. Bounced email is at least 3 times over all time. Okay, do that. Create the segment, and you're also going to exclude that segment from every single campaign. So you want to exclude the bounce segment that we just created, the bot emails segment, the bot like engagement segment, and the 120-day unengaged. You want to have these segments excluded from every campaign you send. That's for brands that do send campaigns, but if you're a brand that only send a few times a year, for you it's going to be a bit different. Just ramp up the 120-day to 360 days. and you should be good. Okay, so now we've gone through how to make the warm-up system, the warm-up infrastructure, where you only have to build it once and it's going to keep running. We've also gone ahead and created the bot detection and removal system. We've also gone ahead and created the engagement-based segments that you need to exclude, right? So we've done everything we can when it comes to the cure. Now we need to prevent mistakes, because prevention is better than cure. We need to prevent mistakes that can be damaging. So the first mistake is only sending designed emails, like an email where everything is an image. You don't want to do that. Well, you can do that, but you want to add a footer that has a lot of text to the email. Okay, inside of the footer text, just add another text block. Change the font size to 8 pixels. Make it a little bit gray, and just add the following text. Okay, this text, I'm going to add a link to this as well inside of the description, so they can just simply come and copy and paste this. And there are a few placeholders you need to fill in. Here, just add the sender email address, and here you want to add a chunky part from your website. Run it through the spam checker. Okay, add it here and just remove any word that's in red. Okay, so for example, so just any text from your website that's about your brand, that explain what you guys are about, add it in here. It's gonna be, it should be around this much text. Okay, add it in between here, and then you can just add it at the bottom of every single designed email, so that it adjusts the image to text ratio. So that's mistake number one. And the other mistake that leads to bad sender reputation is not being consistent with campaigns. Now, the reason I say this, even though we prioritize flows over campaigns, is because if you only have a welcome flow, abandonment flows, and a few post-purchase flows, right, your sending domain is not going to be sending to your existing profiles, maybe except for like a week. If that's the case, okay, I'm not going to ask you to set up the flows that we have in our full setup, where we have like 40 emails long flows. Okay, that's going to take a lot of effort for you guys to do, but you can do that. Ideally, you want to have flows sending out your best content automatically to every single future subscriber, because that's extremely high leverage. You don't have to keep making emails and sending emails. But let's assume you're going the conventional route and you're sending weekly campaigns, or you've got an agency doing your weekly campaigns. You want to stay consistent with them. Okay, don't be like one of those brands where they only send during Black Friday or when you've got sales going on. You need to keep your sending domain active and warmed up, and the way you do that is by sending regularly. Okay, so yeah, these are the two main mistakes. I've also gone through the segmentation, I've gone through the warm-up, I've gone through the bot prevention. That should be everything now. Okay, so yeah, this is the delivery masterclass for you. Now, if you're interested in setting up an automated system for your brand, that's not just a flow setup, it's an actual ecosystem of like 100 emails that actually significantly decreases your CPA and increases your LTV. Okay, and if you're having issues with deliverability or email collection, if you want a system that can capture 20% of your traffic, maintain high deliverability, and have 100 emails of the best content, the highest converting content, right? all automated, going out to your new visitors as well as your existing profiles. If you want that done for you at 0%, at zero upfront cost, just go to our website. You can book a call or you can go straight for the audit. And yeah, if not, this deliverability masterclass was super insightful, I hope, and I hope you implement this. And yeah, have a good day.